Sources telling ABC News the White House is moving forward with a more than $1 billion weapons deal with Israel. And this comes just 1 week after the Biden administration said it would temporarily block the delivery of bombs that could be used in Rafah. Foreign correspondent Marcus Moore joins me now from Tel Aviv with more on this. Marcus, how significant is this $1 billion arms deal to Israel, and what kind of message is it sending after pausing the shipment of 2,000-pound bombs?
Well, Phil, this is a significant development because we're talking about millions of dollars worth of military aid to Israel, including tank ammunition, military vehicles, and also other munitions that Israel would use. And in terms of the message that it sends, certainly we've been reporting a lot on how the U.S., as you mentioned, has withheld weapons from Israel, weapons deliveries to Israel because of the Rafah operation. But this signals what the president and others in the U.S. government have said all along, that they are still allies of Israel, and they still take a responsibility to support them in their own protection, not only today, but in the days ahead. And so as we look at this latest deal, these are not weapons that would come immediately. There's some sense that it would take some years for it to arrive, but certainly the message is clear that the U.S. is fully behind Israel. Phil?
Marcus, Israeli Defense Forces are ramping up its attack in northern Gaza and in East Rafah, which the president had repeatedly said would be a mistake. What's the latest on the fighting in both of those places?
Well, the fighting continues, Phil, not only in Rafah, but also in other parts of Gaza. The Israelis fighting this war on multiple fronts, and we understand there have been new attacks today in Rafah. And we're talking about a city that was home now to more than 1 million people, 1.4 million, many of them who had evacuated from other parts of Gaza and went there for safety from the fighting. They have now, many of them, been moved again. As many as 500,000 people evacuated to other safe areas. So as there's been this massive displacement of people, the fighting continues. And Phil, it's important to point out that Israel has said that they view Rafah as a critical part of them achieving their military goals in this war.
Indeed it is. Foreign correspondent Marcus Moore in Israel for us. Marcus, thank you. Meantime, nearly 24 American medical aid workers say they're now trapped in Gaza. One of those aid workers is Dr. Mahmoud Sabha, who's been working in Rafah at the European Hospital. He joins me now for more on this. Dr. Sabha, thank you for coming on and talking to us. On May 1st, you left Dallas for Gaza on a medical mission with the Palestinian American Medical Association. You were scheduled to leave, Monday, but you're still there. So first, how are you holding up? And what are you being told about when you might be able to leave?
Thank you for having us, and we're doing okay right now. We have a great team with us. We just, in the morning, we still do our morning routines, and we're going to work, and our surgeons are doing surgery, and I do wound care, so I go to the outpatient clinic and I round on some patients. So we're just, life is as it has been for the past few weeks. As far as when we can go out, we have no word yet. We were told that the UN was able to evacuate a few days ago, and still no word on when we can also go back to our families. At the same time, no word on when other American doctors and nurses or international doctors and nurses to come and help out.
What have you been seeing and hearing from patients there?
Patients are very they're perseverant, and they're very thankful for the services that we come with and also the supplies that we come with. Each one comes with at least 8-9 luggage that they come and with supplies, and we're using those during our 2-week mission. Of course, now we have almost depleted that, so we're running off what the hospital had. But our supplies are running low. But the patients themselves, they give us a lot of inspiration and motivation. And really, we're gaining more from them than we are servicing them.
We spoke to other medical aid workers who say they've been forced to ration supplies. They're out of hand soap, almost at 100% infection rate in some of these places because of the dire conditions. What more would you want to see the international community do to help the humanitarian crisis in Gaza?
Oh yeah, I mean, I see this daily. I think of a dressing that I want to put on a patient, and I don't have it, and then I go to my second or third, or just try to do whatever I can to help them. What I want the international community to know is the patients here, they are people generally in Gaza. They just want this war to end. They want a ceasefire. A lot of them, they have accepted that their life from now on, there's going to be a life of struggle. Their life will never be the same. But at the same time, that's not a defeat. That's because they're still living. They still want to rebuild, and they want to rebuild for their children and for their grandchildren. So a defeat for them is almost impossible. But they still want to. They want to be able to rebuild, and they just want this war just to end.
Dr. Mahmoud Sabha in Rafah. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. You're doing noble, incredibly important work, and we do hope you stay safe.